evening, everyone. We're calling to order the meeting of September 13th, 2021 of the Daytona Beach Shores City Council. Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Mayor Miller?
Here.
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Here.
Councilmember Bryan?
Here.
Councilmember Pizzolone?
Here.
Councilmember Fleiss?
Here.
Thank you. I know Reverend Bob was on vacation this week, and we reached out to Reverend Melissa, but we didn't hear back. So I'm assuming that they will not be here this evening. So could we just have a moment of silence, remembering the 13 service members that we lost in Afghanistan, and then also please pray for our nation as we're going through a recurrence of this COVID. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. We will always do this. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start out this evening with our budget. It is a state requirement to hold the hearings at this time that was posted, 6 o'clock p.m. So Kurt, will you tell us a little bit more about that state requirement, please?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. I'll just ask, can everybody in the back hear me all right? Yes. Excellent.
Okay, good.
Yes, so in July, we voted a proposed millage rate, and at that meeting, we had to set a date and time. And under the TRIM statutes, one of the training sessions I went to, they said you have to hold the hearing at the time you stated. They allow for the opening of the meeting, the pledge, the prayer, that kind of stuff, but they don't want any other items to come before that. And also, we have to adopt it, the millage rate, and then the budget in that order. You can't adopt a budget if you don't know your millage rate. So thus you have two items before you. I'll talk a little bit about both of them. They really are essentially the exact same thing we talked about in July. So we are at the rollback rate. And the voted debt millage rate this year is 0, as we paid off all the debt. So we in essence went from a combined millage rate of 6.777 to 4.9356. Which is, to our citizens, they should see about a 27% decrease in the city's taxes. I have no idea what the other taxing authorities are doing. I'm hearing most of them are going to current rate or around that, which will be a tax increase. But the city has lowered its total tax burden on our citizens by 27%.
That's awesome.
Yes, so thank you again for your guidance on, allowing us to do that, pay off that debt, and hopefully our citizens will see that. So you have two resolutions before you tonight. I'm going to ask the city attorney to read Resolution 2021-R-9 in its entirety. I shortened it up from prior years, so it should be much shorter than you remember. This was the long one before. And then the budget resolution, he'll just need to read by title. So unless there's questions, I'll let him start the reading.
And John, will we need a motion on each separately?
Yes.
Okay, and I know it's a public hearing. I'll announce that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is Resolution 2021-R-09, a resolution of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, adopting the tentative levying of ad valorem taxes for the City of Daytona Beach Shores, establishing the date, time, and place for the second public hearing on the millage rates to be September 28th, 2021, Volusia County for fiscal year 2021-2022, providing for an effective date. Whereas the City of Daytona Beach Shores of Volusia County, Florida, on September 13th, 2021, adopted fiscal year 2021-2022 millage rates following a public hearing as required by Florida Statute 200.065. Whereas the City of Daytona Beach Shores of Volusia County, Florida, held a public hearing as required by Florida Statute 200.065. And whereas the gross taxable value for operating purposes not exempt from taxation within the city of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, has been certified by the county property appraiser to the city of Daytona Beach Shores as $1,759,511,234. Now therefore, be it resolved by the city of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, that fiscal year 2019-2020 operating millage rate is 4.9356 mils, which is the rollback rate of 4.9356 mils. The voted debt service millage is 0.00 mils. The date and time of the final hearing of the final millage rate shall be September 28th, 2021 at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, 300 Bellamute Drive, Daytona Beach Shores, Florida, 32118. This resolution will take effect immediately upon its adoption.
I move we approve the resolution.
I'll second.
There needs to be a quick amendment.
Okay.
Just one thing. On number one, it reads the fiscal year 2019-2020 operating millage. It should read the fiscal year 2021-2022. So if I can have your
As
motion.
amended, we approve it as amended.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on this? Okay, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this resolution? Okay, if not, any discussion from the dais? If
Just
not-
one question, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
Kurt, is this one of the lowest millage rates in the county? Just out of curiosity.
There are either 3 or 4 that are below us. Ormond Beach, Port Orange was below us. We may have just, if you vote yes tonight, you may have just gone below them. I think
Barry.
Barry and, is it New Smyrna? Yes.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Yes.
Yeah. This,
But, I mean, I think that, again, you know, I know what you're bringing up. This is fantastic. We're definitely in the lower quarter of the 16 cities. And then just to be able to pay off that millage rate, that 1.7. Councilman Bryan, I know you were very, very instrumental in getting that going. So we thank everyone for their support, and I'm sure the citizens will be quite happy when they see their property tax this year. Thank you. All right, so if no other discussion, Sherry, can you take a vote on this, please?
Councilmember Bryan,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer,
Yes.
Councilmember Politis,
Yes.
Councilmember Frizzlo.
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. Okay, and Attorney Carey, can you read Resolution 2021-10 now, please?
Thank you, Mayor. This is Resolution 2021-R-10, a resolution of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, adopting the tentative budget for fiscal year 2021-2022, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to accept this as is?
I'll move to accept as is.
I'll second.
Thank you. And this also is a public hearing. Do we have any comments? Okay, if no comments, anything else that we'd like to discuss? Okay, Sherry, take your roll on that, please.
Councilmember Politis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer,
Yes.
Councilmember Frizzlo,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryan,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Thank you, yes. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, next we'll go on to the approval of the minutes, and we're going to do all 3 of these at one time. So I'm going to ask for your approval unless there's something that we need to pull for the City Council special meeting from August 17th, the Audit Selection Committee from August 24th, and the City Council meetings for the 24th. Do I hear a motion to accept all 3 minutes?
Move that we accept all 3.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on that? If not, Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Vice Mayor Lindauer,
Yes.
Councilmember Politis,
Yes.
Councilmember Frizzlo,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryan,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you, 5-0. We have nothing on the consent agenda today. What do you have for us, Attorney Carey, on your report?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The past couple of weeks, we've had several things we've been working on, one of which is the getting ready for the closing on 136 Beachcomber, which we'll be bringing to you at the next meeting for your consideration. We've also been working on the comp plan amendment for the both the property rights element as well as the Treasure Island requests, and you will be those went to the Planning and Zoning Board today, and you will be seeing those at the next meeting as well. The auditor engagement letter, we reviewed it and then drafted an addendum for the firm to consider. They've accepted as far as I know. We have reviewed a proposed agreement with Volusia County for relating to the maintenance of county parks, and an Atlantic Avenues Estates Development Agreement amendment that was brought to staff.
I'm sorry, refresh my memory on what the Atlantic Avenue Estates is.
That was a development agreement. There were, I believe, 4 townhomes at that site. One of the townhomes requested an amendment to the development agreement. Since there are 4 properties that are party to the development agreement, all 4 of them have to sign off before we can bring it to the council. And we have, I believe Stuart said, 3 of the 4 that have signed off, and we're waiting on the 4th one until the new buyer closes. And then you will see that as a requested amendment.
Okay.
Once that happens.
Stuart, can you come up? I'm not sure. Where is this located? Sorry. Your name?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, council members. For the record, my name is Stuart Cruz, city planner with the city of Daytona Beach Shores. The development agreement that the city attorney is referring to is a development agreement amendment that has been submitted to the city. The location that affects our concerns this development agreement is 3833 Cardinal Boulevard. So the development agreement amendment has to go to the Planning and Zoning Board first, and then after that, there's a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Board that comes to the City Council. So you'll actually see that on next month's, on the 28th agenda for this month, but it's actually going to be continued because, as Attorney Carey mentioned, all 4 lots or property owners within the subdivision have not signed off on the agreement as yet because one is outstanding. And that property is outstanding because it's actually in the contract, so the ownership is actually transferring. So we can't really get a signature to support the document or the amendment application until the ownership transfers. So hopefully in October you'll see that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
What's the nature of the amendment?
The nature of the amendment is that one of the property owner, the name is Cheryl and Tony Anthony Espesi. They want to get some deviations to allow them to build a single-family home. So, as the city attorney mentioned, the development agreement was originally for duplexes to go on each of these 4 lots, but this particular property owner doesn't want to build a duplex. They want to build a single-family home, and they want to build it a little bit closer to the property lines and a little bit wider than normal. And so you'll be seeing that hopefully next month if all the property owners that are part of the subdivision actually sign the agreement to concur with the proposed amendment.
Madam Mayor, can I ask a question? Is that the one that PJ Warner has, those
Yes.
runs from A1A to Cardinal?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a big wide one, and...
Correct. I believe it's in front of Blue Surf Condo.
Correct, okay. I was curious, all right, thank you.
So are they going from 8 units, when you said a duplex, to 4 units?
So they're permitted to put 1 duplex in each 4 lots.
Right.
But we also amended, you may remember last year, we also amended the agreement to allow single family in lieu of the duplex. So the owner, PJ Warner's client, Mark Scharf, who's out of New York, he actually sold off 3, and now he's in the process of selling the 4th lot. And it's my understanding that 3 out of those 4 property owners want to build single-family homes and not duplexes.
Okay. So referring back to, remember we had a lot of people on audience participation on that. So explain to me what he wanted at the beginning and how it's going to be now, and how are the neighbors reacting to it?
So just a really quick summary. So that property was actually in the county, and in the county they could only build 4 units on the property. So the property owner annexed into the shores, and he applied for a comp plan amendment and a rezoning of the property to get 8 units, basically the 4 duplexes. 4 times 2 gives you the 8. And now he's in the process. He's sold 3 of those units. 3 of the lots he subdivided into 4. Sold 3 of those units, and then there is 3 of those properties, and there's 1 property that's now under contract. So he had actually applied to double up on the 8 units to 16 units because he changed his plans from the townhomes to apartments. But of course, the neighbors, they all railed about that, and the action eventually died. So in terms of this proposed amendment that was supposed to go in front of the board today and will come before the council later next month, We have had no communication with any neighbors at all, and all the neighbors within 200 feet of the property have been notified, and an ad has been placed in the paper as well, and we haven't gotten one complaint because everyone's aware that it's going to be a single-family home.
Well, that was a win-win.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the explanation, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Carey. Any question? Yes?
What was the addendum to the auditor?
Essentially, the addendum was to insert the contract provisions that we as a local government are required to have in our local government contracts. When the firm signs on clients, they don't have things like the public records statement that's required by law, or the indemnification provisions that are required by law, or they may not necessarily have the venue. I believe the venue in their engagement letter is Alachua County, and we changed it to Volusia County. It's just things like that that we either are required or generally do as a matter of good practice included in our local government contracts.
So the basic terms and conditions didn't change. And I assume there's the provision that they don't raise the rent for a year or something?
Can everyone hear Councilman Bryan?
No.
Yeah, Councilman Bryan, we can't.
Sorry, I was asking the question to John rather than speaking in my question was the provision for not raising the rent for a year, is that part of the
Okay,
contract?
so I thought you were asking about the auditor engagement letter. If you're asking about the beachcomber, that'll be something that'll be coming at the next meeting, and it will have the provision that you requested to ensure that they don't increase the rent.
Sorry to switch.
Okay, is that the only questions for Attorney Carey? Okay, Attorney Carey, thank you for that report. Now we'll move on to our city manager, Mike Booker. What do you have for us this evening?
Well, I noticed our city planner came in a little late tonight, probably to avoid me. I know he joins me in congratulating Jacksonville State on their win over FSU. I appreciate that, Stuart. Back to more serious matters. Sewer redundancy. Our Assistant City Manager, Kurt Schwartzlander, and I met with Daytona Beach Manager Derek Viecher to discuss tapping into the Daytona Beach sanitary sewer river crossing. Mr. Viecher seemed open to this interconnection, and we have established a staff discussion concerning the feasibility. At this point, it appears that Daytona Beach sewer rates are comparable to what we are paying for sewage treatment in Port Orange. I will continue to update you as discussions progress. FDOT, we met with FDOT, our staff, and some of their staff, and our transportation consultant to discuss the installation of a pedestrian crosswalk at Peck Park. And I want to thank County Council Vice Chair Billy Wheeler for beginning to initiate the process in these discussions. In those discussions, it appears that the district also has funding available to install crosswalks in late spring, early summer of 2022, and a couple of other locations. And that would be at their expense. If we can pick up 2 or 3 locations that would be fairly easy, that are probably already part of an existing study, I think that we'll fund those and try to do them about the same time.
Okay, and would that also include, Mike, did you tell me that the lights could be in there at ABC Liquor?
I
That'd be
think that
separate.
would be wise to tackle the ones that we want lighted first,
There.
and then maybe look at the installation of a couple too.
It's great.
Okay, great, okay.
Patrons need all the help they can get.
So, who has the floor? Who's requesting? Okay, Vice Mayor?
Mike, just thinking outside the box, is there any chance that we could get them to put that on Treasure Island instead of us paying for it?
You know, we as staff talked about that, that might be one of the key ones that we want to target. Once we can get with them and determine where they want the crosswalk to be kind of with their parking. But yeah, I think that'd be a great idea, a perfect way to use some of those funds.
And I'd like to get our heads together with all of council, if we could. I know the chief had said that he would like a couple more up north, so Treasure Island would definitely be north. And I know that Monica Paris was doing a lot of work at that one at Sea Spray. And the more I'm looking at there, I do see more people utilizing that parking lot. So I think that would be a good one. That would take care of the north, and then Peck and the lighting. I mean, that's my recommendation, but we can talk about it, and I'm open to whatever else we want to do.
Sounds good.
Yes.
I think that's an excellent recommendation.
Councilman Bryan, did you want the floor?
Yeah, do you have a rough estimate of the cost of the crosswalk to
Which crosswalk?
The one down the Peck Park crosswalk.
Oh, well, that's gonna be entirely picked up by the county, but you still would like to know.
Do we have some idea what?
Generally, a standard crosswalk, no lights, is usually somewhere around 40 to 50,000, I think. You can double that price when you light it.
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Well, great, and then I know you have one more.
Yeah, as of this writing, Volusia County residents have received, 53% of residents have received the vaccine for COVID-19, which is a little low among the state. State rate, I think, is about 70%. The positivity rate for all county residents is about 15%. Now, while this is a decrease from the prior 20% positivity rate, the related death toll is not anticipated to peak for another 2 to 3 weeks. So I think we all need to still be aware and be cautious when it comes to COVID-19 and how we protect ourselves.
Thank you. I was going to bring this up under council comments, but as most of you probably know, I was diagnosed a little over 2 weeks ago with COVID-19. Now, I had both of my vaccines in January. Not sure where I got it from. I had a very, very mild case, as they talked about, nothing more than a worse cold. But right now I have no sense of smell. That hasn't come back yet. But the reason I'm bringing this up is I want to talk to us about how lucky we are to be in the state of Florida with the monoclonal antibodies treatment in Ormond. Ed and I went down there that day. I did make an appointment. I got down there. We got right in. Ed had no symptoms, and he's since tested negative, but they gave him the treatment as well. It was a very well-run organization. So if you know of anyone that's been exposed to COVID, or if you have yourself, please get them down there to that treatment center. It was just fantastic. And again, we're very, very lucky to have 17 of those in the state of Florida. So just wanted to push that. Thank you. Any questions on city manager's report? If not, okay, we will move on. We don't have any old business today. Under new business, park maintenance agreement for the county beachfront parks. So this is what we had asked our city manager to work on several times. So there's 5 parks that will be in the agreement. And is it Jessica?
Yes.
Okay, Jessica, do you want to come up and just talk to us a minute about what's going on and see if anyone has any questions? So again, we basically were doing, what were we doing, Mike? 2 parks for free or 3? Or with no fee?
2.
2, okay. And now we'll go to, is it 4 or 5?
4, I believe.
4, okay, 4 parks, okay. So Jessica, we're very, very happy with this arrangement. I think the Daytona Beach Shores Public Works does an excellent job of maintaining these. And I think the expectation is from the people and the residents here that we've done it all along. So we're glad to work out on that. Anything in particular we need to know about you starting to do that?
We did, thank you, Madam Mayor.
I'm sorry, I should have, if you want to introduce yourself.
Jessica Wintorp, Volusia County Coastal Director, 515 North Atlantic Avenue, Daytona Beach, Florida 32118. We did leave a clause in the agreement that should we enter into any sort of paid parking in the future at any of these locations, we would come back and negotiate a revenue share. There is a revenue share in place right now under this agreement and under prior agreements for pavilion rental fees. It's not very significant, but it does kind of help offset some of the maintenance costs. Mm-hmm. We do have a very good relationship with the city down on the staff level in the field. We appreciate that relationship. The county's still going to be responsible for all of your major capital improvements. So if you get a hurricane and you lose a roof, that's on us. The dune walkover, which is typically your biggest maintenance hog because a January nor'easter can drop 12 inches, you have to close it, that will again be our responsibility. We do appreciate the communication set up. We have worked very well together. We've actually done a lot of maintenance in the last 2 years to Frank Rendon Park and Van Avenue jointly to bring the 2 of the older parks up to par. I think once we get the Edwin W. Peck Senior Park completed and the Dahlia Avenue Park completed, I think these are really going to be very nice jewel parks for the county. They're going to be very highly used and a big asset to your residents and your visitors.
Great.
I'm available if you have any questions.
Okay, and Mike, it's $100,000 a year that we'll be paying? Is
That's
that correct?
correct. And while Jessica's here, I want to thank her and Mr. Rector for sitting down with us and ironing out this agreement.
Okay, thank you.
I move we approve.
Does this motion need approval, Attorney Carey, or?
It does.
Okay, all right.
I second it.
Okay.
I do have one question. When is that park supposed to be finished and ready to use?
We are taking the playground because we want to purchase the playground separately from major contracts, so the warranty stays with us, and we've got a direct relationship with the parks people. That's going before our county commission or our county council on the 21st. We're anticipating opening of both parks late 2021. So it's coming up. We're getting very close.
And that's Dahlia and Peck.
They'll both have playgrounds, recreational equipment. We hit some construction issues at Dahlia with sewer and survey lines, but we've got a solid contractor. They're making really good progress. When the gates are open, you can probably peek a sneak in there and see things happening. If you have friends at the adjacent properties, I'm sure you can get up in the air and look down. But we're excited about what this is going to look like. It'll be the new standard for coastal parks in Volusia County.
And restrooms.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to just say, I read through the contract, and normally when I read through a contract, there's something in there that bothers me. Nothing bothered me in this. I think it's a very straightforward, very good contract for both the county and the city.
Mr. Booker has a strong fist. Kidding. All right.
We really do appreciate what you're doing. I think it's absolutely terrific. It's great for our city, and it's great for Volusia County.
Thank you, Jessica. Any other questions for Jessica before we let her go? Okay, if not, Sherry, will you take a roll call, please?
Councilmember Bryan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Yes.
Councilmember Plitus?
Yes.
Councilmember Frizzlone?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. Thank you.
Can I say something, Madam Mayor? When I looked through that contract, no disrespect to Mel, there was one clause, and I spoke to our city attorney, John, about it.
Can you let us know what that was?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. Because I told John, so that way, I don't do municipal law, but doing plaintiff's work. It's on page 6 of 12. It's an indemnification clause. So I'm just looking out for the city. In the beginning, it says, county makes an act or an omission, it's on the county. The city makes an act or an omission for any kind of negligence, it's on the city. But later down, it says in the agreement, it says each side will agree to indemnify and defend the other at the party's options and injuries to persons resulting in the manner negligent indemnifying. And I thought it was a little confusing because if we didn't do something negligent, why should we have to get involved in the lawsuit? And anyway, John and I discussed it, and he said he will go back and talk to his contemporaries back at the firm and then, clarify. Again, that's the only thing, because I do that stuff for a living, so I saw that and it kind of popped out.
Okay, well,
So I thought
thank
it was
you.
my obligation, my duty to at least bring it to everyone's attention.
Thank you very much for doing that, Councilman
So
Plitus.
much for my legal training.
Okay, anything else that you saw there, or everything else is?
No, everything else was fine.
All right, so next we'll go on to the next new business. That's the engagement letter from James Moore and Company, the audit firm that we selected at our last meeting. So do we hear a motion to approve the letter of engagement with James Moore?
I'll move to accept.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
And Mayor, can I clarify that that's the letter of engagement as modified by the attached addendum?
Okay. Okay, is there anything that you need to read on the attached addendum?
No.
Okay. All right.
When do they start? When do they start? When do they officially start?
They've already actually started, is my understanding,
Kurt.
with Kurt. They wanted our, approval that we were going to put it on the agenda before they would start, but Kurt has informed me that they were going to start basically immediately once we accepted the terms.
Yeah, as soon as the contract is fully executed, they'll be out to do their, there's a term for it, I'm drawing a blank, but it's the pre-audit work, field work that they come out and do usually in September. And then they'll come back tentatively in November to do their actual field work. And then, as most cities do, we have to wait until the FRS provides information on January 15th before we can finalize. But really, all the audit work should be done in November or first week or two of December. So we're ready to roll. We just need to finalize the.
And the handoff, the transition's gone smoothly, so you're
Yes.
good, good.
And so when does our contract end with CRI, or
It did with the last audit.
the last, okay, great.
So the contracts are done based on audit year. So they'll be auditing what we call fiscal year '21, even though they'll be completing that in '22.
Well, the handoff process could always be awkward, you know,
Yes.
given that, so the fact that it's going smoothly is terrific, Kurt. Really.
They're professionals. They're both, professional firms. They know you win some, you lose some, and it's better to keep it friendly than.
Because you never know 5 years from now, right? Don't burn your bridges. Thank you. All right, Sherry, so we had,
One other question, just a matter of curiosity, since this is a fixed fee contract, how many payments do they get, and why do they get them?
They usually bill it as kind of like a construction contract. They'll do draws down on it, and
Okay, that's all I need.
I don't know exactly how James Moore and Company will do that draw request, but it's pretty straightforward. So.
okay, any other questions? If not, Sherry, we had a motion and a second, right? So we're ready for the vote.
Councilmember Politis?
Yes.
Councilmember Frizzlone?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryan?
Yes,
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you. Okay, now we'll go on to council comments. Councilman Bryan, what do you have for us this evening?
I'd like just to make a comment that I made it before. When we go back to rollback rate, forgetting the zero debt, that's really a savings to the taxpayers. It's not just, the dollar amount's the same, but whatever the inflation rate is, makes those dollars cheaper. So it's really a savings equal the rollback rate. And at some point, if there's much of inflation, probably the state, or whoever makes the rules about rollback rates should take that into account. But anyway, the taxpayers are saving some money over and above not having to pay for the debt.
Yeah, and inflation's running at 3.54 right now, so that's,
That's more than it has been.
Good
Yep.
point, thank you. Vice Mayor? Do you
No
have any
comments.
comments? Okay, I don't have any comments this evening. And Vice Mayor, I'm sorry, Councilman Frizzlone?
I am fine, thank you, Madam Mayor.
I think everything's good. It's just, it's wonderful to live here.
Yes, life is better in the
It
field.
is.
I do want to say thank you, Nancy, and to your team. We had a very nice evening at the Summer Bash. It wasn't quite as much as we normally have, but it was, we were able to space apart, and food was great. Thank you again for that. Any audience comments this evening? I don't have any for 'em, but as always, I'm going to allow you the opportunity if anyone has anything to say. Okay, if not, what items do we have? I think we have a pretty packed agenda for the 28th. We will be doing interviews. Sherry, what time are we starting those?
5 p.m.
5 p.m., and we only have 2 candidates, and this will be for an alternate on the P&Z board. So 5 o'clock on the 28th, we'll interview 2 candidates. Okay, and Sherry will have those packaged for us ahead of time. Anything else that will go on that agenda? Kurt, you'll have some things on there as well?
Yes. Yes, you'll have the final millage rate resolution and the final budget resolution, and we will probably have the Beachcomber sale and also the possible contract extension with the Port Orange South Daytona Chamber. Their contract was a 1-year contract. They would like to extend, so we'll see that at the next council meeting as well.
Okay. Okay, if nothing else, okay, the meeting's